I don't often take footage of this little native section in here, which is between the meadow garden in here and this little yet to be determined garden area behind the shed. The plan is that this wouldn't be a fenced off area as it is now. It's only fenced off to keep sheep out, and that it would sort of separate these two areas and run through and be planted out through this sort of rocky outcrop, and to leave a laneway at the back of the property, which again sheep can still use, it being a heavily sort of wooded area. So in this section, it's mostly natives. So this is probably the oldest tree in here, a wattle. I bought it as a tiny little thing, and it put on quite a lot of growth, and then the sheep ate it, and then the same thing happened again, and I actually thought it would die. This is one that came from the courtyard, and I'm sure there'll be a video of it, but it stayed in the courtyard for a year, maybe two, and it dropped all of its leaves at one point, and I thought it had died. I brought it back and planted it here. You can see what it is here. It has never flowered, but anyway, it was much bigger when I brought it out. Not quite as big as it is now, nor as healthy looking, but it had a fair bit of size. And this one has now almost caught up with it. So we've got it contained now such that sheep, touch wood, don't get in here anymore. And there's various little things planted in here. Kangaroo paws, which Brendan, again, if you're watching, kangaroo paws tend to go in this section. Some of them are still sitting in pots, and that's because I'm not sure ultimately if they're going to go here or be planted a little bit further out. They seem to do fine in the pots. Some of them, though, are planted in, and there's some kangaroo paws that we've had as well. This little eucalypt here I just put in last week. This would be only the second eucalypt that I have planted out here, and the other being the dwarf lemon gum, which is just over the way a bit, so in the same section, and I'll show that in a moment. I'm not sure, it seems fine. I'm not sure if it is a bit sad with the sort of drooping leaves there, or if that's just what it does. But I bought it just because it's obviously a different species of eucalypt, and it has a very bright pink red sort of gum nut flower. It looked very pretty. And it does actually have a slight weeping habit, so that may be why it's weeping. We've had plenty of rain, so it shouldn't be a water issue. It seems fine. It's just at the very tips, it's a bit weepy, a bit soft, and it's hard to sort of you sort of miss what is in here. But for instance, here is a little tussock of grass that we've got here. Now again, this would have been here for quite some time, and the sheep would have eaten it down, or rabbits, or whatever else. I don't know what sort of grass it is. Maybe lamandra. I'm not sure, or like a blue fescue or something like that. I'm pretty sure there's a mondo grass over the other side. There's a little kangaroo paw. This is the only kangaroo paw I've ever grown from seed, which is doing okay. That's one that's come from Brendan recently, so I think that got planted out a week or two ago. Same for the clump behind it. There's more, you can see more of that grass here. And and these are quite nice. There's a little, I think this is a mondo grass here, which has this really blue foliage. You can see things do eat this down, but it's coming back and hopefully it's taken okay. So I've literally added some soil between some rocks and planted it into the rockery. You really do have to be careful where you're stepping because you can easily step on things. But here's the little lemon gum that was in our courtyard, and it smells wonderful. It took ages to take, but it's doing okay. What else? These would be bulbs, well they are bulbs. As to what type I couldn't tell you, but they would be from the first or second year that we were here, and not really with any great plan, but just sort of testing things, chucking sort of bulbs anywhere we could put them. So I don't know what it would be, maybe a freesia. There are some tulips and some daffodils, not many, like maybe 5, 10 tops, but you can actually see them. Some more coming up there. I've never seen them come to flower in this section, but there's no reason they shouldn't. There's a callistemon in this section as well. I should get some more of those. Yeah, and then this section will just sort of keep going through this rockery because it's very hard to plant in here anyway, and sort of that gives us a native sort of corridor between the sort of more artificial sections. There's a pine tree there, a nashi pear, an ash tree, mulberry, and a golden elm in there. I don't know what's to become of that section, but I haven't, apart from just fencing it off, I haven't done anything with it. So on the other side of this driveway, where Mark is just about to drive down now, there's a bunch of trees coming from a specialist tree nursery. They'll be quite small and they'll come via Australia Post. They're going to be planted out on the other side, so on the far side of this driveway, and they're mostly fruit trees. So we'll have the poplars on this side and fruit trees on the other.